So in some ways, from a historian's point of view, fake news is the kind of default of much of the newspaper for much of its history. Um, in the 19th century, there weren't really people who were professional journalists. Most newspapers were partisan. They were affiliated with either the Democratic, Republican, Whig party in the United States, at least. Um, and they were arguing for a very specific political position always. And these materials were circulating through the news, but it was very difficult to verify things. There wasn't a lot of instantaneous communication between places. And so when you look at a 19th century newspaper, it's full of things that look relatively factual, like hard news today, and it's filled with sort of anecdotes that have real people in them but seem very suspect. They seem a little too neat, and they seem to be making a point a little bit too well to maybe be something you would trust. And they also had fiction in them, things that were just explicitly fiction, and they're all kind of jumbled up together on the same page. And so looking at historical newspapers, it's often very difficult to suss out which of these facts are verified in the way that we would expect in a sort of 20th or 21st century perspective from everything else. It's really in the late 19th and early 20th century that you begin to get this sort of journalistic code of ethics, the sense that journalism should be impartial, that it should be objective. And of course, those are ideals that people meet to varying degrees throughout the 20th century. But really, our notion of a newspaper is somewhat ahistorical in that it's really about one very specific period of time. And you don't have to look much further back to see a much messier ecosystem that, to me, reminds me quite a lot of the web today. All of these sorts of text in this medium that was just sort of finding itself, it was just forming, can be really instructive for thinking about our current moment when, although it feels like the internet's been around forever, in many ways it's a medium that's just kind of forming, and we're just figuring out how to evaluate what we read online. And I think studying what readers are doing with texts 150 years ago as the newspaper is evolving can be really instructive for helping us think about this medium that we're dealing with today.